Hi, it's Karen with Living Our Dream Homestead, where today I'm going to be testing jams, preserves, jellies, and fruit spreads against each other. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please click the button down below. If you're new to my channel, once a month I have been doing product tests on several things. And this video is not being sponsored, which in a way is good because then, you know, my vote towards one product than the other will be honest. This is just my honest opinion on these products. And again, you may have a different opinion on these jams, jellies, preserves, and fruit spread than me. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be comparing today Frederick's of Meyer peach preserves, Berry Hill apricot preserves. Now this one is sold by the Aldi store. Kroger red raspberry jam. Kroger strawberry jam. Smucker's, this one really caught my eye, blueberry fruit spread. That just sounds so good. I had to try it. Never had this before. I'm going to talk about the Welch's Concord grape jelly. And I've got homemade blackberry jelly. We've got to have homemade in there as well. Now I'm also going to touch on pectin. And this is the kind that I use. This is the liquid. And I'm going to put these jams, preserves, jellies, and fruit spreads through 3 tests. One, I'm going to judge them on appearance, how they taste, and how well they spread. You know, because sometimes when you have a jam or a jelly, sometimes when you're spreading it on bread, it sometimes just clumps up and ends up rolling. And I don't know about you, then it's just so hard to spread it on there. It's like, what the heck? What's the point? So those are the 3 tests that I'm going to test. 1 being poor and 5 being the best. So let me go ahead and turn around this camera so I can show you these jams, jellies, preserves, and fruit spreads up close. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about these fruit spreads, jams, jellies, and preserves. So got to go ahead and we got the Frederick's of Meyer peach preserves. It was $5.79 for 17 ounces. And again, the Frederick's of, it's by Frederick's by Meyer. That's more of their premium brand that they end up carrying. Now this jam, or excuse me, this preserves, I ended up getting it for only $2.19 because if you guys watch my shopping haul, the UPC code on the back was folded over and they could not read it. So I ended up only really paying $2.19 for that, which is a steal, but I wanted to show you how much it was if you had to go to the store and get it. And then here is the Berry Hill one. Again, this is put out by Aldi's apricot preserves at $2.59 for 18 ounces. Can't beat that price. This one is the red raspberry jam by Kroger. It's $4.69 for 18 ounces. And then I've got the Kroger brand again, a strawberry jam, and this is $2.99 for 18 ounces. And if you can see, red raspberry, the raspberry jam, excuse me, the raspberries itself is more expensive than a strawberry, as you can see the difference in the price. Then I've got Smucker's Natural. This is actually a fruit spread, $4.69 for 17.25 ounces. Then I've got the Welch's Concord grape jelly. It was $2.89 for 18 ounces. Then I've got my homemade blackberry jelly. The price, honestly, is probably a whole lot more expensive than these other commercial jams, jellies, and preserves, just because I have to buy all the ingredients. I'm not buying it in bulk for my pectin, etc. So and again, you know, I made it homemade. And then here is the pectin that I was talking about. This is I buy Certo, if I'm pronouncing it right. It's liquid pectin, and it has 2 pouches in the box. This box was $5.49 at my Kroger store. Yes, shocking. Each pouch is 3 ounces. So here's the pouch, and this is the fruit pectin I use. Now there is another one that is a powder, but I do not use that, so I could not show that. So all in all, here were the jams, jellies, preserves, and fruit spreads. I want to go ahead and talk about each one. You know, what is the consistency? So I've got jam here, I've got some raspberry jam, and jam is usually made by crushed or chopped fruit, then mixed with sugar, you know, to make a, you know, gel-like consistency. And of course there's pectin in there as well. Now the preserves is actually a runnier, it's runnier than a jam. It is actually more fruit, and it is chunks of fruit that you see in the preserves. Rather with the jam, the fruit has been, like I said, smashed, crushed, you know, severely. And then you've got the jelly right here. That is cooked down. Again, the ratio to that is, it's 1 part fruit to 1 part sugar. Now again, you can control that. Some people may cut back on the sugar and it may be a little bit different, but it's more cooked down. And in jelly, you don't have any chunks of fruit like the preserves that you would see. Or again, with the jam, you're gonna see more smashed fruit. This, you're not gonna see it. It's more of almost like if you put it out, it's just, you know, I mean, it's gonna be the color of the jam, but it's more almost clear because there's no chunks in it. It's a lot smoother, easier to spread. And then the fruit spread is about the same thing too. It just said a fruit spread was made from fruit and fruit juice and sugar to make this. And it's more, most of the fruit spreads are more natural. And all these jams, jellies, preserves, and fruit spreads, I'm testing these, they don't have any high fructose corn syrup. Now this one here, I will not be testing this one because of the ingredients. There's just some things I don't want to put in my body. So the Welch's Concord Grape Jelly has got Concord grapes, corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, fruit pectin, citric acid, and sodium citrate. Now, long ago, if you've been watching my channel, I actually had an allergy to corn. And so I avoided that like the plague. I have been told by my allergist I'm no longer allergic to corn, but in all honesty, I don't have a desire to try it. I don't want to go through that feeling again. So there's just no way I'm going to be putting this in my body. And, you know, I would rather see sugar in here than you got corn syrup in here twice. You know, high fructose corn syrup is really not good for you. Yes, it's natural, but it's not natural in a good way. I mean, I've read, you know, it makes people more hungry and then they eat it more, etc. So then it makes people gain weight, etc. more. So it's not something I would go ahead and eat myself. My husband, he likes the grape jelly. And unfortunately, all the other brands, like here is my Meijer store shelf, where this is the jam they had. Here is the jam section in my local Meijer store. Their store brand jam actually has high fructose corn syrup, unlike the Kroger one. The Kroger store brand would be better since it doesn't carry that. But they do have several varieties to choose from, but a lot of it has high fructose corn syrup. So the only ones I found that were pretty good were these and this brand, and then of course the Frederick's brand that do not have any high fructose corn syrup. There's this brand that has no high fructose corn syrup, but unfortunately it being sugar-free, it has got polydextrose, potassium sorbate. These are all sucralose. Now, you know, that's why it's sugar-free. Sucralose, for me, gives me the bathroom troubles. So that's not something I want in my jam. There's this Good brand. It doesn't have any high fructose corn syrup in it, but it has stevia extract. Now, if you don't know what that is, that's actually like a cactus plant, something like that. And I don't know about you, I'm just not wanting to have that in my jam. I don't know about you, you know, Meijer has a pretty big selection of jams, jellies, fruit spreads, and preserves. But, you know, again, they don't have that many that are all natural. And this one is, like I said, not all natural. But I also have my Kroger store, and here is their shelf. I'm currently at my local Kroger store, and this is the kind of jam that they have. They have Smucker's jam, but it's got high fructose corn syrup in it. And I don't know about you, I don't want that. They've got a Kroger strawberry jam, and they've got a red raspberry, and I already purchased those, and they've only got sugar, raspberries, lemon juice, and fruit pectin, so they're a whole lot better. So not many jams to choose from. They've got jelly. They've got something called a fruit spread down here. And a fruit spread has a different ratio of sugar to fruit, unlike jam. And I might be testing those just because, again, they're all natural. They have no high fructose corn syrup. So I might try to go ahead and get one of those and test it against just a regular, say, Kroger jam. There's also some naturals up here where they've got blueberry. Sounds good. That sounds delicious. I think I'll go ahead and pick that one up to try. And there's a berry one. I think I'll go ahead and pick that one up. There's the strawberry. And then they've got apricot too as well. That sounds delicious. But I'm definitely going to try the blueberry here at this store. And they've got the grape jam down here. Where's that grape jelly? Grape jelly, grape jelly, grape jelly. They got the jam back here. And I just want to show you the jam here in the in the Welch's grape jam. It's got high fructose corn syrup, and I don't want that. They do have Welch's Natural Concord Grape Fruit Spread. Now again, a fruit spread has no high fructose corn syrup. So that may be the way to go if you want to avoid high fructose corn syrup. So again, here is my Kroger jams, jellies, and preserves. So it was shocking to see my Kroger store, where the shelf is. Again, it's a whole lot smaller than my Meijer store with, what I can choose from. But it's just, back many years ago when I went to the store, we're talking in the 90s and the 2000s, you could walk in and you would have, probably 6, 7 different kinds of jams. Yes, maybe some of them were not all natural, but you had more of a variety to choose from. And in today's world, we don't really have that. And again, most of all these jams, jellies, preserves, I usually don't buy it from the store. Again, I usually do homemade where I can control the ingredients and make it more natural. But again, these are natural ingredients besides the Welch's one. Again, this one is the one my husband ends up eating. I do not. I want to go ahead and make some grape jelly for him. I haven't purchased any grapes. I am trying to grow my own Concord grapes, but I've only had them about 2 years, so I absolutely have no grapes on the vines right now. But that is a goal in the future, to have that so that I can make my own jelly for him so we can get rid of these other ingredients that he doesn't need. Well, let me go ahead now, and I'm going to go ahead and open these jams, jellies, preserves, and fruit spreads, and let's see what they look like. I'm going to put it in a bowl. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and start and do a little bit here at a time, but this one I wanted to show you. When I ended up spooning into the Fredericks of Meijer peach preserves, it absolutely feels like it's more moist. It's easier to get out. And this apricot one, if you can see, it's just, to me, it feels real dry. Dry, sticky consistency, which is kind of weird. And then these right here, these two I've had in the fridge. So, they look about the same. They're like gel-like in there. Again, this one more gel-like. And then the fruit spread is about the same thing, more gel-like. And this one, the Welch's, again, this one is not as, gelled as the Smucker's one. Felt like it was a little bit more tougher. This one is like, we're easily penetrating to get in that jelly there. And then my homemade one here, that kind of feels like the consistency of, you know, that's how it's supposed to be, but you're kind of poking it and it's almost like it's bouncing back a little bit, just like the Welch's Concord grape jelly. So let me go ahead and get them out in the bowls so we can go ahead and look at them. Okay, here's the first one. It is Fredericks of Meyer. And, you know, the appearance, to me, it looks pretty good to me. You know, you can see right there chunks of fruit. So it looks pretty good. I would go ahead and give it a 5 for appearance. It's something that I would want to eat. That's how I'm, you know, judging for the appearance. Now, the apricot one, the Berry Hill, again, it's real dry. It just, you can see there's a little bit of the, fruit, in there, but not a lot. But again, it's just real dry. So I just, I'm going to give it a 3. I mean, don't get me wrong, with it being apricot, it still looks pretty pleasing to the eye. The peach one is actually a little darker than the apricot, but that doesn't matter. It's just, I'd give it a 3 because it seems, I just kind of wonder with it being so dry and to get it out of the container, how is it going to taste and how is it going to spread? So that's what I'm going to leave. And then this one, the Kroger Red Raspberry Jam, looks beautiful. And again, it just looks like jam. I don't really, again, being jam, you're not going to feel the chunks of fruit in it, etc. So to me, it looks like normal jam. And I'd go ahead and give it a 5. And then you got Kroger Strawberry Jam. And that looks like a pretty red color. And again, looks about the same like the red raspberry one. And I'd go ahead and give that one a 5 for appearance. And now this is the blueberry one. Now, I don't know about you, that being clumpy like there, that doesn't really look very pleasing to the eye. This is the Smucker's Blueberry Spread. But I can feel, when I got it out, I can feel berries in it. So that is a plus. But just looking at it, if you had that in the bowl, I'd be like, ugh, I don't know if I really want to try that. Because it doesn't really look, say, very pleasing to the eye, because it's lumpy. But again, maybe, some people might see that saying, hey, that means there's real good chunky fruit. So I'd go ahead and give it on appearance, I'd give it a 3. And then the Welch's Grape Jelly, that kind of looks the same, just like the Kroger one and everything with the appearance. It looks about the same. It is still kind of a little bit more bouncier when you touch it compared to the Kroger jam. Of course, it's not bouncy. It may be the difference because that's a jam and this is a jelly. But again, appearance, I'd give it a 5. And then we've got the blackberry jelly, homemade. And again, I guess it's kind of like the Welch's. It is a little bit bouncy as well, but it still looks pretty. So I'd go ahead and give that one a 5. So I'm going to go ahead and work on now how well these jams, jellies, preserves, and fruit spreads, how well do they perform spreading it on a piece of bread? Okay, I went ahead and I've dropped some jams, jellies, preserves, and fruit spreads on our bread. So I'm going to go ahead and just use a standard, knife to see how it spreads. Now, I don't know about you, the preserves there, that's spreading pretty good. So I'd definitely give that a 5 in spreading. Let me go on to the next one. Okay, went ahead and actually got some plastic knives to do it spreading, just because when I don't have a problem using this one, but if I do with all these tests that I've got to do here, I'm going to have some dirty knives. Husband will come home and be like, where are all the knives? So let's go ahead and see how this one's going to spread. Now this one, again, this is the Berry Hill Apricot Preserves from Aldi. Now it's spreading okay, but it is just really sticky. And it doesn't seem like it's not as runny as the Fredericks of Meyer Peach Preserves. They're both preserves, but this one definitely looks like more juice, more runnier than this one. So for spreading this one, it still did cover the bread. I'll give it a 4. It doesn't seem to be going over the way I wanted it to go over. Okay, the Kroger red raspberry jam. When we go ahead and spread that one, it's spreading quite well. I'd go ahead and give it a 5. Now we've got Kroger strawberry jam. And that one too, like the raspberry one, it's spreading pretty well. It doesn't seem to be sticky like the Berry Hill, which is the Aldi's brand, apricot preserves. So I'd go ahead and give this one a 5. Now we've got the Smucker's Natural Blueberry Fruit Spread. Now it is spreading. It is chunky. So it's doing a pretty good job. It doesn't honestly feel sticky, which I thought it would because, it was kind of clumpy. So it looks like it's doing a good job. I give it a 5. Then we've got Welch's Concord Grape Jelly. And I've got it here. And that one, like I said, again, it's kind of squishy. It is hard to spread. And, it's kind of clumpy. I can't even keep it on my, excuse me. So it kind of rolls a little bit. So I don't like that. So I would give that one, it did cover it, but still it's rolling, in clumps. So I'm going to give that one a 2. And then we've got the homemade blackberry jelly. That seems to be doing pretty good. It kind of clumps a little bit too, like the Welch's one. Must be just, again, the jelly consistency. But it is doing a little bit better than the Welch's one. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4. Now, let me go ahead and tell you some of these ingredients before I actually put it in my mouth and taste it. This one is the Fredericks of Meyer Peach Preserves. We've got organic peaches, organic cane sugar, fruit pectin, absorbic acid, which is vitamin C, and that's all the ingredients. So let's go ahead and try that one here. And I'm just going to try like a spoonful because it would be hard to eat all that bread in all honesty and take a bite. So let's go ahead and see how it does. That tastes pretty good. I really immediately tasted a chunk of peach. It tasted good. I know it is peach, but it really wasn't a very strong flavor. I think it honestly could be a little bit stronger. I more taste the fact that I more taste the sugar. It's a very light peach taste. So, it doesn't taste horrible. So I'm going to give it a 3. To me, it could taste more peachy. For the fact that it being organic, I thought it would honestly be better. It's not horrible, but I thought it would be better. Let's see about the Berry Hill Apricot Preserves. Now, again, this one's from Aldi's. It's apricots, citric acid, and pectin. And this is the one, if you remember, it was very hard to spread. It was lumpy, felt dry. So let's see if this one has a better taste of the Fredericks one. I like apricots myself. Definitely, hands down. The apricot has a better, stronger taste than the Fredericks. This Berry Hill Apricot Preserve, yes, it doesn't spread well. It didn't really look very appealing, and it really felt dry. Excellent taste. I'd give this a 5. So let's go on to the next one, the Kroger one, red raspberry jam. And it is sugar, raspberries, lemon juice concentrate, and fruit pectin. Let's see how that tastes. That's got a great taste. The raspberry, you know how when you taste a raspberry, it's almost like a little kick in your mouth? That's delicious. I would go ahead and give this Kroger raspberry jam a 5 on the taste test. Now, this Kroger strawberry, I'm not going to read the ingredients because it's the same thing. Again, it's just strawberries, you know, which is different than the raspberries. So let's go ahead and taste this one. I'm trying to get that, as you can see, a strawberry dripping or the gel, excuse me. It's okay. I mean, strawberries are good, but it's really not that strong. I think it could be a little bit stronger. So on the taste, I'm going to give this one a 4. The next one is Smucker's Natural Fruit Spread Blueberry. Again, this is one I have not had. It's first time for me. Blueberry, sugar, fruit pectin, and citric acid, which is just like lemon juice. So let's go ahead and try this one. This one, again, you can actually see the fruit. Well, you can't really see it because it's so dark, but it's real chunky, you know, etc. Doesn't really look pleasing to the eye, but let's see how it tastes. That's fabulous. That tastes like you just put all blueberries in there. I really don't taste the sugar, which is good because, you know, that peach preserves, I was tasting a lot of sugar and not a lot of peach. So this Smucker's Natural Blueberry Fruit Spread, excellent taste. I'd give it a 5. Right up there with Aldi's with the taste. Now the Welch's one, again, I'm not going to try because that's got the high fructose corn syrup and corn syrup in it. And then again, my homemade one is just sugar. It's the pectin that I showed you right here. I use Certo liquid pectin with all my stuff. So let's go ahead and try that one. And this again is blackberry. Excuse me, I think that one's fabulous as well. It's not as strong, in all honesty. The Smucker's Natural Blueberry has more flavor than my blackberry homemade jelly. So I would go ahead and give that a 4. So which one is the best? Well, let me go ahead and get to that. So which one would I recommend? Hopefully I can do this without having a sugar rush here. I would definitely recommend the Aldi's apricot preserves. You know how in today's society we always go by appearance. Now, yes, this looks like it's real pretty. I'm not saying it isn't, but it was just sticky, felt dry, you know, and if I didn't try it, by just looking at that stuff, I wouldn't have. It didn't spread very well, but we always go by what it tastes like. Something could look really gross, but you could taste it and it could be fabulous. So this one, hands down, excellent taste. I recommend this one, and this one was a 5. I also recommend the Red Raspberry by Kroger. Excellent taste. That raspberry, like I said, had like a zing. It was more powerful, kick in your mouth, and it was delicious. And you know, at 18 ounces, it is a little pricey at $4.69, but it is delicious. So I would recommend this one as well. And then the Blueberry Fruit Spread. If you want something different than the standard strawberry, raspberry, peach, apricot, the Smucker's Natural Blueberry Fruit Spread. Yes, it didn't look appearance-wise pleasing to the eye. It looked like almost like coffee grounds personally, but lumpy and clumpy. But it just had an excellent taste, and it's all natural. You can't beat that, but it is still a little pricey, 17.25 ounces for $4.69. So those are the 3 that I would recommend. If you're just buying one and we're just going by taste, because this is what we're doing with this jam, preserves, jelly, fruit spread, I would recommend the Aldi's one. Berry Hill. The reason being the price. $2.59 for 18 ounces. This is a really good deal, and it's a steal because it's delicious. And it's, you know, if you're on a budget, this is the one I would recommend. If you're doing something and you want to give something to someone at Christmas time with like biscuits and a jar of jam, I would recommend this one, the Smucker's Natural, or even the Kroger Red Raspberry one. Now, which one did I think you shouldn't buy? In all honesty, which is shocking. I don't think you should waste your money on the Fredericks by Meyer Peach Preserves. I thought it would be good, in all honesty, because it's more of like an organic brand. But all I tasted was a whole bunch of sugar and less fruit. Didn't have that, you know, real good peach taste. And I don't think you should waste your money on this one. Because, you know, in all honesty, if we want to taste sugar, we might as well just go ahead and open the sugar container and put a spoonful in our mouth. You know, because the whole point was for me to taste the peach and not the sugar. So I would avoid this one. And at $5.79 for 17 ounces, that's a little hard to swallow. You know, and of course I would avoid this one. I did not try this one, being with the high fructose corn syrup and the corn syrup. I don't want to put that in my body. If you do, that's your choice. But it's just, that's, you know, so much more, you know, they should just go ahead and put sugar, in all honesty. And the homemade one, again, was good as well. But I gave it a 4. I mean, it was an okay taste, but next to the blueberry and the apricot, this wouldn't win. Even though, I made it, and it, you know, it's homemade, and I know the ingredients. It is good. So if you like this video, please hit the like button down below. This was Karen with Living Our Dream Homestead. I hope you have a good day.